Commander Ta stood tall on the bridge of his ship. His amber eyes looked out at the stars. The black fur on his body shined under the ship's lights. His long tail moved slowly behind him. He was proud. He was strong. He was Mok'tul. "Commander, we are ready for the jump to Sector 7, said Officer Hannah. She stood at her post, her spotted fur marking her as from the southern region of their homeworld. Ta nodded. His sharp teeth showed when he smiled. Good. The hunt continues. The Mok'tul were feared across the galaxy. They looked like big cats that walked on two legs. They had claws that could cut metal. They could see in the dark. They could hear a heart beating from far away. They could smell fear. And Commander Ta was the best of them all. 300 successful hunts, 300 victories, no defeats. This was why they called him the Supreme Hunter. "Sir, the target ship has been spotted," said the young officer at the scanner. His name was Da, and this was his first hunt. "Show me," ordered Ta. A large screen lit up. It showed a cargo ship moving slowly through space. It was big and heavy. It carried valuable metals from the mining worlds. Metals the Mok'tul needed. "They have no idea we are here," said Hannah. "Their shields are down." Tay's whiskers twitched with excitement. "Too easy. Perhaps we should let them know we are coming. I enjoy when they try to run." The crew laughed. They had seen this many times. The commander liked to play with his prey. "Send them a message," Ta said. "Tell them the Supreme Hunter has come." Officer Day sent the message. On the screen, they watched as the cargo ship suddenly changed direction. It was trying to escape. "They are entering the asteroid field," said Da, his ears going flat against his head in surprise. Ta laughed. "Foolish. They think rocks will save them from us." He turned to his pilot. "Follow them. Show them there is nowhere to hide from the Mok'tul." The ship turned sharply, heading into the field of floating space rocks. Some were small. Some were as big as mountains. Their ship moved between them with grace. Todd watched as his pilot, Officer Jin, handled the controls with skill. "We are gaining on them, Commander," said Jin. "Excellent. Prepare the boarding teams," ordered Ta. He flexed his claws. Maybe he would join the boarding party himself today. It had been too long since he felt the thrill of close combat. Suddenly, the ship shook hard. Warning lights flashed red. "What happened?" Ta demanded. "Sir, we hit something." Jin's paws moved quickly over the controls. "It wasn't on our scanners." "Impossible," Ta growled. The Mok'tul had the best technology in the galaxy. Nothing could hide from their scanners. The ship shook again, harder this time. Ta had to grab a rail to stay standing. "Engine damage reported," called Hannah. "We're losing power." "The cargo ship is getting away," said Da, his voice full of disappointment. Ta slammed his fist on a console. This had never happened before. In 300 hunts, he had never failed. He had never been surprised. He had never lost his prey. "What hit us?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. "Sir, it appears to be some kind of stealth mine," said Hannah after checking her screens. "Advanced technology. Not from any species we know." This was even more surprising. The Mok'tul kept track of all advanced species. Who could have technology they didn't know about? "Where are we?" asked Ta. Jin checked the star maps. "We are near the edge of known space, sir." "There is." He paused, looking confused. "There is a small planet nearby. Not in our records, but it shows signs of civilization." "Can we reach it?" asked Ta. "Yes, Commander, but our main engines are damaged. We will need repairs before we can return home." Tay's tail whipped back and forth in anger. But he was not just a hunter. He was a leader, and a leader had to make smart choices. "Set course for this unknown planet," he ordered. "We will find what we need there." As the ship changed direction, Ta looked out at the stars again. For the first time in his life, he had failed a hunt. It made him angry. It made him feel something new, doubt. But he pushed these feelings away. He was Muktal. He was the supreme hunter. One small problem would not change that. He did not know that the planet they were heading to was called Earth. He did not know that this visit would change everything he believed about himself and the galaxy. He did not know that the greatest challenge of his life was waiting for him there. And it was not what he expected at all. Jai-Ho wiped sweat from his forehead as he tightened the last bolt on the engine he was fixing. The moon outpost was always too hot or too cold. Today it was too hot. He put down his wrench and stepped back to look at his work. There, he said to himself, that should do it. Jai-Ho was not tall. He was not big. He looked like any other human. But his hands could fix almost anything. People from many planets brought their broken ships to him. They knew he would find a way to make them work again. Jai-Ho, come quickly. The voice came over his radio. It was Sun, who worked at the landing area. A strange ship just asked for emergency landing permission. Jai-Ho picked up his toolbox. I'm on my way, he said. He loved seeing new ships. Each one taught him something new. When he reached the landing area, he stopped and stared. The ship that had just landed was like nothing he had seen before. It was dark and sleek, like a hunting animal. It had sharp points and smooth curves. It looked dangerous. What kind of ship is that? He asked Sun. Sun looked worried. It's Muktal. They don't usually come to human space. Jai-Ho had heard of the Muktal. They were feared in many parts of the galaxy. They were strong fighters and skilled hunters. They looked down on other species, especially humans. The ship's door opened slowly. A ramp came down. And then they appeared. They walked like cats but stood like people. They had fur of different colors: black, brown, spotted, striped. They had long tails that moved behind them. Their eyes were bright and sharp. Their hands had claws that could cut through metal. The tallest one, with black fur and amber eyes, walked down first. He looked around with a face that showed he was not impressed. This must be their leader. Welcome to Earth-Moon Outpost, said Sun, stepping forward. I am Manager Sun. How can we help you? The tall Muktal looked down at Sun. I am Commander Ta of the Muktal hunter ship Claw of Victory. Our ship is damaged. We need repairs. His voice was deep and had a slight growl. He did not sound friendly. Of course, said Sun. I'll assign our best mechanic to help you. She turned to Jai-Ho. This is Jai-Ho. He can fix anything. Commander Ta looked at Jai-Ho. His eyes moved from Jai-Ho's head to his feet, taking in his simple work clothes, his average height, his normal human appearance. The Muktal's whiskers twitched, and he made a sound that might have been a laugh. This small human will fix my ship, he asked. My ship has the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Jai-Ho tried not to feel insulted. He was used to being underestimated. I would like to see the damage, he said calmly. Then I can tell you how long the repairs will take. Commander Ta's tail flicked back and forth. He did not seem happy, but he nodded. Very well. Follow me. Jai-Ho followed the Muktal back into their ship. Inside, it was dark and had strange smells. The other Muktal watched him with curious eyes. Some looked hostile. None looked friendly. Commander Ta led him to the engine room. Jai-Ho could see the problem right away. Part of the engine was badly damaged. A large piece of metal had been bent and broken. Can you fix it, human? Asked Ta, crossing his arms. He clearly expected the answer to be no. Jai-Ho studied the damage. It was challenging but not impossible. He had fixed similar problems before. He had parts from many different ships in his workshop. He knew he could make something work. Yes, he said simply. I can fix it, but it will take time. Ta's ears went back in surprise. He had not expected this answer. How long? 3 days, said Jai-Ho. Maybe 4. So long, growled Ta. That is not acceptable. Jai-Ho shrugged. That's how long good repairs take. Do you want it fixed right, or do you want it fixed fast? A female Moktal with spotted fur stepped forward. "Commander, we have little choice. We are too far from home to get help from our own people." Tay's tail lashed angrily, but he nodded. "Very well. You have 4 days, human. Not 1 day more." Jaiho nodded. He knew he could do it. He was already thinking about how to fix the damage, what parts he would need, what tools would work best. What he didn't know was that these next 4 days would change his life. He didn't know that the angry Moktal commander would become important to him. He didn't know that danger was coming. He didn't know that sometimes the most unexpected meetings can lead to the most amazing friendships. Jaiho arrived early the next morning to begin work on the Moktal ship. He pushed a large cart filled with tools and parts. When he reached the ship, Commander Tai was waiting, his arms crossed and his tail moving back and forth. "You are late," said Tai, even though Jaiho was actually early. "The sun is barely up," said Jaiho calmly. "I came as soon as I could." Tai made a growling sound. "Moktal do not waste time with sleep like we humans do. We have been awake for hours." Jaiho did not argue. He just nodded and pushed his cart toward the ship. "I need to get to work if you want to leave in 4 days." Inside the ship, the other Moktal watched Jaiho with curious eyes. Officer Hana, the spotted female, followed him to the engine room. "Our engines are very advanced," she said. "Are you sure you can fix them?" "I have fixed many kinds of engines," said Jaiho. "Yours is different, but the basic ideas are the same." Jaiho lay on his back and slid under the damaged part. He studied it carefully. Then he began to work. His hands moved quickly and surely. After an hour, Commander Ta came to check on him. "How long will this take, human? My crew is getting restless." Jaiho wiped sweat from his face. "I told you. 4 days." Tay's whiskers twitched with annoyance. "You move so slowly. A Moktal engineer would be done by now." "Then why don't you fix it yourself?" asked Jaiho, feeling tired of the commander's attitude. Tay's ears went back. "Our engineer was injured in the accident, and you should show more respect, human." Jaiho sat up. "I respect those who respect me. I am trying to help you." For a moment, Ta looked surprised. Then he laughed, a deep rumbling sound. "You have courage, little human, but courage is not the same as strength." "There are many kinds of strength," said Jaiho. Tai laughed again. "Show me your strength then." "That engine part needs to be moved." He pointed to a heavy piece of metal. Jaiho looked at it. It was very heavy. No human could lift it alone. Tad was trying to make him look weak. "Wait here," said Jaiho. He left the ship and went to his workshop. When he came back, he was wearing a strange frame around his body. It was made of metal and had small motors at the joints. "What is that?" asked Ta. "An exoskeleton suit," said Jaiho. "We humans make tools to help us do things we cannot do alone." Jaiho walked to the heavy engine part. The suit hummed softly. Then, to Ta's surprise, Jaiho lifted the part easily. He carried it across the room and set it down gently. "Impossible," whispered Ta. His amber eyes were wide with shock. "Not impossible," said Jaiho. "Just human ingenuity." Officer Hana came closer to look at the suit. "Interesting. You make machines to be strong for you." "We make tools to help us," said Jaiho. "That is how humans survived on Earth. We were not the strongest or fastest animals, but we were the smartest." Ta seemed less impressed. "Machines can break. True strength comes from within." "The strength to make the machines comes from within," said Jaiho. He went back to work on the engine. Throughout the day, more Moktal came to watch him work. Some made rude comments about how slow humans were. Others were curious about his tools. Jaiho ignored the rude ones and answered the curious ones. By evening, he had made good progress on the repairs. He was tired but satisfied. As he was cleaning up for the day, Commander Tai returned. He watched Jaiho in silence for a while. "You work hard for a human," he finally said. All humans work hard, said Jai-Ho. We have to. Why? Asked Ta. Because the universe doesn't give us anything for free, said Jai-Ho. We have to earn everything. Tai thought about this. Tomorrow you will eat with my crew, he said suddenly. I want them to see that even a human can have some worthy qualities. Jai-Ho wasn't sure if this was an insult or a compliment, but he nodded. Thank you. As he left the ship, Jai-Ho wondered if Commander Tai was starting to see humans differently. Probably not. The Moktul were famous for thinking they were better than everyone else. But a small crack had appeared in Ta's perfect confidence. He had seen something today that surprised him. And surprises could lead to change. Whether that change would be good or bad, Jai-Ho didn't know yet. By the third day, Jai-Ho had made good progress on the ship repairs. The Moktul were still not friendly, but they were less rude. Some even asked questions about Earth and humans. Jai-Ho answered them honestly. Commander Tai was getting bored. The Moktul were hunters. They did not like to sit still for long. Ta paced around the ship, his tail flicking with annoyance. How much longer, human? He asked Jai-Ho for the 10th time that day. Jai-Ho tightened a bolt on the engine. I'm working as fast as I can. One more day, maybe two. Ta growled in frustration. I cannot wait another day doing nothing. I need action. I need to hunt. Jai-Ho looked up from his work. There are woods not far from here. Many animals live there. You could hunt there if you want. Tay's ears perked up with interest. What kind of animals? Are they dangerous? Some are, said Jai-Ho. There are bears, wolves, wild boars. They can be dangerous if you're not careful. Excellent, said Ta, his whiskers twitching with excitement. I will hunt these earth creatures. You will come too. Jai-Ho was surprised. Me? Why? To see how real hunters work, said Ta, and to show you how weak humans are compared to Moktul. Jai-Ho did not want to go. He had work to do on the ship, but he knew Ta would not take no for an answer. And maybe it would be good to get away from the ship for a while. Fine, he said. We'll go tomorrow morning. The next day, Jai-Ho met Ta and two other Moktul at the edge of the forest. Jai-Ho brought a backpack with food, water, and other supplies. He also brought a small device that looked like a watch. What is that? Asked Ta, pointing to the device. A weather tracker, said Jai-Ho. It tells me if a storm is coming. Ta laughed. Moktul do not fear weather. We hunt in any conditions. That's nice, said Jai-Ho. But storms here can be dangerous. They walked into the forest. It was early morning and the air was cool. Birds sang in the trees. Small animals rustled in the bushes. The Moktul moved silently, their ears turning to catch every sound, their noses twitching to catch every smell. Jai-Ho stayed back and watched. The Moktul were amazing hunters. They moved like shadows through the forest. Their reflexes were incredibly fast. When a rabbit jumped out of a bush, one of the Moktul caught it before Jai-Ho even saw it move. See, human, said Ta proudly. This is true hunting skill. No tools needed, just natural ability. Jai-Ho nodded. Very impressive. They went deeper into the forest. Ta was looking for bigger prey. He wanted to show Jai-Ho what he could really do. There, he whispered, pointing ahead. A large animal. Jai-Ho looked where Ta was pointing. Through the trees, he could see a big brown bear. It was eating berries from a bush. That's a bear, whispered Jai-Ho. They're very strong and can be very dangerous. Perfect, said Ta, his amber eyes gleaming with excitement. Watch how a true predator hunts. Ta moved forward silently. The other Moktul spread out to the sides. They were setting up an ambush. Jai-Ho stayed back, watching nervously. Just then, Jai-Ho's weather tracker beeped softly. He looked at it. A storm was coming, a big one, and it was coming fast. Ta called Jai-Ho softly. We need to go back. A storm is coming. Ta ignored him. He was focused on the bear. He crept closer, his body low to the ground, his muscles ready to spring. Suddenly, the sky grew dark. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The wind picked up, blowing hard through the trees. The bear looked up, sensing danger. It saw Ta and roared loudly. It stood on its back legs, looking huge and fierce. Then the rain came. It came all at once, heavy and loud. Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder boomed. Tay's ears went flat against his head. The noise hurt his sensitive hearing. The rain washed away all smells. The wind confused his sense of direction. For the first time, the great hunter was disoriented. The bear, scared by the storm, turned and ran into the forest. "No," shouted Ta, trying to follow. But he couldn't see well in the heavy rain. He couldn't smell the bear's trail. Jaiho stepped forward. He pulled something from his backpack. It looked like a pair of glasses. "Put these on," he said to Ta. "What are they?" asked Ta, confused. "Thermal imaging goggles," said Jaiho. "They let you see heat. The bear's body heat will show up bright against the cool forest." Ta hesitated, then put on the goggles. Suddenly, he could see clearly again. The forest was blue and purple with cold, but there, moving away, was a bright orange-red shape, the bear. "This way," said Jaiho, who was wearing his own goggles. "But be careful. The ground will be slippery." For the first time, Ta followed Jaiho's lead. The human moved carefully but confidently through the storm. He knew this forest. He knew how to handle this weather. Maybe, thought Ta, there was more to humans than he had believed. The storm grew worse. Rain poured down through the trees. The wind howled. Lightning flashed across the sky. Jaiho and Ta gave up on tracking the bear and decided to head back to the outpost. "This way," said Jaiho, pointing. "There's a shorter path through that valley." Ta followed, still wearing the thermal goggles. He did not like depending on human technology, but he had to admit they were useful in the storm. His own senses were overwhelmed by the noise and the water. "Your planet has violent weather," said Ta as they walked. "Yes," said Jaiho. "Humans have learned to adapt to it." They walked for about an hour. The other two Moktal followed behind them. Everyone was wet and cold. Even Tay's thick fur was soaked. Suddenly, Jaiho stopped. He held up his hand for silence. "What is it?" whispered Ta. "I'm not sure," said Jaiho, "but something doesn't feel right." Ta scanned the area with his goggles. At first, he saw nothing unusual. Then he spotted them. Heat shapes hiding behind trees and rocks up ahead. They were shaped like people, but not human or Moktal. "We're not alone," said Ta quietly. "There are figures up ahead." As if on cue, the hidden figures jumped out. There were about 10 of them. They were tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms each. They carried energy weapons. "Vrek raiders," growled one of the Moktal behind them. The Vrek were notorious space pirates. They attacked ships and outposts, stole valuable items, and sometimes took people as slaves. They were cruel and dangerous. "Give us your technology, and we won't hurt you," said the leader of the Vrek. He pointed his weapon at Jaiho. Ta stepped forward, his claws extended. "I am Commander Ta of the Moktal. We do not surrender to pirates." The Vrek leader laughed. "Even Moktal can die, cat. There are more of us than you." Ta knew he was right. Even with his fighting skills, he couldn't beat 10 armed Vrek. But he wouldn't give up without a fight. "Stay behind me," he told Jaiho. Then he let out a fierce Moktal battle cry and leaped at the nearest Vrek. The fight was intense. Ta moved with incredible speed, his claws slashing through the air. The other 2 Moktal joined the fight. They took down 3 Vrek quickly. But there were too many raiders. A Vrek shot Ta in the leg with an energy weapon. He fell to one knee, growling in pain. The other Moktal were surrounded. "Now you die, cat," said the Vrek leader, aiming his weapon at Ta's head. Suddenly, There was a loud explosion. Smoke filled the air. The Vrek looked around in confusion. "What was that?" shouted the leader. Another explosion went off, and then another. The area was filled with thick smoke. The Vrek couldn't see. They fired their weapons randomly, hitting nothing. Tai felt someone grab his arm. It was Jiho. "Come with me," whispered Jiho. "Stay low." Despite his pain, Ta followed Jiho. Through the smoke, they moved quietly away from the main fight. Jiho led them behind a large rock. "What's happening?" asked Ta. "What did you do?" "Smoke bombs," said Jiho, pulling small metal balls from his backpack. "And these are flash grenades. Cover your eyes." Jiho threw the grenades toward the Vrek. There were bright flashes of light, followed by screams of pain. The Vrek couldn't see in the bright light. "Now we need to even the odds," said Jiho. He pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A loud, high-pitched noise filled the air. The Vrek covered their ears in pain. "What is that noise?" asked Ta, his own sensitive ears hurting. "Sonic disruptor," said Jiho. "It hurts their ears more than yours. Trust me." While the Vrek were distracted, Jiho pulled out what looked like a gun. But instead of firing bullets or energy, it shot a sticky web that wrapped around two Vrek, trapping them. Todd watched in amazement. The small human he had fought was taking down the Vrek, with clever tools and smart tactics. "Help your friends," said Jiho, handing Tai a first aid kit for his leg. "I'll keep the Vrek busy." Tai quickly bandaged his wound, then rejoined the fight. With Jiho's devices causing chaos among the Vrek, the Moktol were able to overcome the remaining raiders. Soon, all the Vrek were either tied up or had run away. When it was over, Tai limped to Jiho, who was collecting his devices. "Humans can't win with strength alone," said Jiho. "So we learn to be clever. We use the environment. We make tools. We find ways to win even when we're not the strongest." Todd looked at Jiho with new eyes. This human had saved him. Without Jiho's quick thinking and strange devices, they might all be dead. "Perhaps," said Ta slowly, "there is more than one kind of strength." Jiho smiled. "Let's get back to the outpost. Your leg needs proper treatment." As they walked back, Tai thought about everything he had seen. This human was making him question many things he had always believed. When they got back to the outpost, Jiho took Tai to the medical center. The energy weapon had burned Ta's leg badly. He needed proper treatment. "I don't need human medicine," growled Ta, though his face showed he was in pain. "Moktol heal quickly." "Not from energy weapon burns," said Jiho. "Those can get infected even for Moktol." The medical center was small but clean. A doctor named Hyun came to help them. She looked at Ta's wound with calm, professional eyes. "This needs cleaning and special medicine," she said. "It will hurt, but you need to stay still." Ta growled but did not argue. He lay on the treatment table while Dr. Hyun cleaned the wound. His claws dug into the table when the pain was bad, but he did not cry out. Jiho stayed with him. "You fought well against the Vrek," he said. "As did you," admitted Ta. "Though your way of fighting is strange to me." Dr. Hyun applied a clear gel to Ta's wound. "This will help it heal and kill any infection," she said. "How long until I can walk properly?" asked Ta. 2 days if you rest," said Dr. Hyun. "Or a week if you don't." Tae's tail flicked with annoyance, but he nodded. "I will rest." After Dr. Hyun left, Jiho helped Ta to a recovery room. It had a bed, a chair, and a window that looked out at the stars. "I will send Officer Hannah to help you," said Jiho. "I need to get back to work on your ship." "Wait," said Ta. "Stay a while. Tell me about humans." Jiho was surprised, but he sat in the chair beside Ta's bed. "What do you want to know? How did humans become the dominant species on Earth? You are not strong. You are not fast. You have no claws or fangs. Yet you control your world." Jai-Ho thought for a moment. We weren't always dominant. For most of our history, we were prey, not predators. We were hunted by faster, stronger animals. Tay's ears perked up with interest. Then how did you survive? First, we learned to work together. One human is weak, but many humans together are strong. Second, we made tools. Our hands can make and use tools that make us stronger, faster, and more dangerous than any natural animal. Like your smoke bombs and sticky gun, said Ta. Exactly, said Jai-Ho. And third, we adapted. When conditions change, we change too. We learned to live in hot deserts and cold mountains. We learned to cross oceans and fly through air. Tai was quiet for a while, thinking about this. Mok'tul value individual strength above all. We work together, yes, but each warrior must be strong alone. That works well when you're naturally strong, said Jai-Ho. But humans had to find another way. They talked for hours. Ta told Jai-Ho about the Mok'tul homeworld, with its vast plains and thick forests. He told stories of great hunts and battles. He spoke of Mok'tul traditions and values. Jai-Ho told Tai about Earth's many cultures and countries. He explained how humans had gone from simple cave dwellers to space travelers. He talked about human art, music, and science. As they talked, something changed between them. The arrogant commander and the quiet mechanic began to see each other as individuals worthy of respect. Your species' approach to survival is different from ours, said Ta. But I can see that it works. Different doesn't mean worse, said Jai-Ho. Just different. Later, Officer Hannah came to check on Ta. She was surprised to find him in deep conversation with the human. Commander, you should rest, she said. Ta nodded. Jai-Ho, you should return to your work on our ship. But thank you for the conversation, and thank you for your help in the forest. I would not have admitted this before, but you saved my life today. Jai-Ho stood up. Anyone would have done the same. No, said Ta. Many would have let the wreck kill me. They would have run away to save themselves. You stayed and fought. That took courage. Jai-Ho smiled. Get some rest, Commander. I'll have your ship ready to fly soon. As Jai-Ho left the room, Tai watched him go with new respect in his amber eyes. This human had shown him something he had never expected to find on this small planet. A different kind of strength, one based not on physical power, but on intelligence, adaptability, and courage. For the first time in his life, Commander Tai, the Supreme Hunter, was beginning to question whether his definition of strength was too narrow. After 2 days of rest, Ta's leg was much better. He could walk without pain. He went to check on the ship repairs. He found Jai-Ho working on the final parts of the engine. How much longer? Asked Ta, but his voice was not impatient like before. Jai-Ho looked up and smiled. Almost done. You can leave tomorrow if you want. Ta nodded. Good work, Jai-Ho. You kept your promise. As they walked around the ship, Jai-Ho showed Ta the repairs he had made. The engine looked better than before. Jai-Ho had even fixed some small problems that had been there before the damage. You have skilled hands, said Ta. Your work is good. Thank you, said Jai-Ho. I'm glad I could help. They went to the control room of the ship. Officer Hannah and the young Officer Day were checking the ship's systems. Commander, we found something strange, said Hannah. Come look at this. She showed them the ship's computer screen. It showed the damage to the engine. This wasn't an accident, she said. The damage pattern shows it was deliberate. Someone put a small explosive device on our engine. Sabotage, growled Ta. Who would dare attack a Mok'tul ship? Jai-Ho looked closely at the screen. May I? He asked, pointing to the computer. Ta nodded. Jai-Ho typed on the keyboard, bringing up different images of the damaged parts. This looks like Vrek technology, said Jai-Ho. The same kind of explosive they use to break into locked cargo holds. The Vrek in the forest, said Ta. They weren't there by accident. They were waiting for us. But how did they know you would be in the forest? Asked Jai-Ho. Tay's eyes narrowed. They must have followed us from space. They damaged our ship to force us to land here. But why? Asked Jai-Ho. What do they want? Officer Day spoke up. Sir, I just checked our long-range scanners. There's a large wreck ship hiding behind Earth's moon. And there are smaller ships heading toward the human colony on the other side of this planet. Jai-Ho's face went pale. New Hope Colony. But there are over 1,000 people living there. Mostly families. They don't have many weapons. The Vrek are planning a raid, said Ta. A big one. They disabled our ship so we couldn't interfere. Jai-Ho looked worried. The colony needs help, but our outpost doesn't have ships with weapons, and the Earth Defense Fleet is too far away to get here in time. Tai was quiet for a moment. Then he looked at his officers. How soon can our ship fly? The engines are fixed, said Hana. We can leave whenever you give the order. Ta nodded. He seemed to be making a difficult decision. Commander, said Jai-Ho. Those people need help. Is there anything you can do? In the past, Ta would have said this wasn't his problem. The Mok'tul didn't get involved in other species' troubles. But something had changed in him. The Vrek attacked my ship, said Ta. They ambushed me in the forest. They made this personal. He turned to Hana. Prepare the ship for battle. We're going to stop the Vrek raid. Jai-Ho looked surprised. You're going to help the colony. The Vrek need to learn that attacking a Mok'tul has consequences, said Ta. His voice was firm, but there was something new in his eyes. Concern for others, not just pride. I want to come with you, said Jai-Ho. Ta shook his head. It's too dangerous. I know those people, said Jai-Ho. I've worked at that colony. I know the layout. I can help you plan the defense. Ta hesitated, then nodded. Very well, but you will stay on the ship during the battle. Jai-Ho smiled. We'll see about that. As the Mok'tul crew prepared for battle, Jai-Ho showed them maps of the colony. He pointed out key areas that would need protection. The Vrek will go for the power station first, said Jai-Ho. Then the water treatment plant. Those are the most important systems. Tai studied the maps carefully. We will focus our defense there, but we need more fighters. The colony has a small security team, said Jai-Ho. And there are miners who know how to use weapons. If we warn them in time, they can help. Ta looked at Jai-Ho with new respect. You know how to plan a defense. Jai-Ho shrugged. I've read a lot of military history. Humans have been fighting battles for thousands of years. As they finalized their plans, Jai-Ho realized something important. Just days ago, Ta wouldn't have even considered helping humans. Now he was risking his ship and crew to save them. The Supreme Hunter had changed, and Jai-Ho knew that this battle would change him even more. Ta's ship flew quickly to New Hope Colony. From above, they could see the small settlement built in a valley. There were farms, houses, a main town center, and industrial buildings. About 1,000 people lived there. The Vrek ships will arrive in 1 hour, said Officer Hana, checking the scanners. 5 ships, maybe 100 warriors. We need to warn the colony, said Jai-Ho. Ta nodded. Send them a message. Tell them to prepare for attack. Jai-Ho sent the warning. Soon, they were talking to the colony leader, a woman named Min. We don't have many weapons, said Min, her face worried on the screen. Our security team has 20 people. Some miners have laser tools that could be used as weapons. Focus on protecting the civilians, said Ta. My warriors will handle the main fighting. They landed the ship near the colony's main gate. People came out to see them. Many had never seen a Mok'tul before. They looked scared of the tall cap-like aliens. Jai-Ho stepped forward. These are friends, he told the colonists. They're here to help us fight the Vrek raiders. Min came to meet them. Thank you for the warning and your help, she said to Ta. We don't have much time to prepare. Show me your defenses, said Ta. Min took them on a quick tour of the colony. The walls were not very strong. The gates were designed to keep out wild animals, not armed raiders. The security team had good energy weapons, but not enough for everyone. "We need to make this place harder to attack," said Ta. He turned to Jai-Ho. "You're good at making things. Can you help?" Jai-Ho nodded. "I have some ideas." While Ta positioned his warriors at key points around the colony, Jai-Ho worked with the colonists to set up defenses. They used mining equipment to dig trenches. They turned farming machines into barriers. They set up nets and traps at likely entry points. Some miners had experience with explosives. Under Jai-Ho's direction, they made simple bombs that could be used against the raiders. Others modified their tools into weapons. "Not as good as real weapons," said one miner, looking at his modified laser drill. "But it will hurt them." Jai-Ho also helped set up a command center where they could monitor the whole colony. He installed sensors around the perimeter that would alert them when the Vrek approached. "You've turned farmers and miners into soldiers," said Tai, watching the humans work together. "Humans adapt," said Jai-Ho. "When we need to fight, we fight." The sensors began to beep. The Vrek ships were approaching. "Everyone to positions," called Ta. His voice was strong and confident. The colonists moved quickly, taking their places as they had practiced. The Vrek ships landed outside the colony walls. Raiders poured out, armed with energy weapons and cutting tools. They expected an easy attack on helpless humans. They didn't know about the Moktal or the defenses. "Hold until they reach the first line," said Tai over the radio. Everyone waited, tense and quiet. The Vrek reached the first trench. Suddenly, explosives went off all around them. The ground erupted in smoke and fire. Many raiders fell. The others kept coming. "Second line. Ready," said Ta. When the Vrek reached the second line of defense, hidden colonists activated energy nets that trapped many raiders. The Vrek leader shouted in anger, ordering his warriors to push forward. "Main gate team, get ready," said Ta. He stood at the gate with his warriors, claws extended, ready for battle. The Vrek blasted the gate open and rushed inside. They met Tai and his Moktal warriors. The fight was fierce. The Moktal fought with incredible skill and strength. Their claws tore through Vrek armor. Their speed made them hard to hit. But there were many Vrek. They pushed past the gate and into the colony. Some headed for the power station, just as Jai-Ho had predicted. "Power station team, they're coming your way," Jai-Ho called over the radio from the command center. At the power station, miners used their modified tools to fight back. They fought bravely, but they weren't warriors. They began to fall back. "They need help," said Jai-Ho to Min. "The power station is going to fall." "All our fighters are busy," said Min. "There's no one else to send." Jai-Ho made a quick decision. "I'll go." He grabbed a backpack of devices he had made and ran toward the power station. When he got there, the miners were in trouble. 5 Vrek had them cornered. Jai-Ho threw one of his smoke bombs. As thick smoke filled the area, he activated his exoskeleton suit. Then he charged in. The Vrek couldn't see well in the smoke. Jai-Ho could, thanks to his thermal goggles. He moved quickly, using his suit's strength to knock down raiders. He fired his web gun, trapping 2 Vrek against a wall. Just as he was about to be overwhelmed, a loud roar came from behind him. Commander Tad leaped into the fight, his claws flashing. Together, human and Moktal fought side by side. Across the colony, the tide of battle was turning. The raiders had expected easy targets. Instead, they found a well-defended colony with Moktal warriors and humans who refused to give up. "They're retreating," called someone over the radio. "The Vrek are going back to their ships." Tai and Jai-Ho watched as the remaining raiders fled. The colony was safe. The defense had worked. "We did it," said Jai-Ho, breathing hard from the fight. "Yes," said Ta. "We did." The day after the battle, the people of New Hope Colony gathered in the town center. They wanted to thank the Moktal warriors who had helped save their homes. The mood was happy despite the damage to some buildings. No one had died, though many had injuries. Commander Ta stood tall as colony leader Min presented him with a simple gift, a carved wooden statue of a Moktal warrior standing beside a human. "This is to remember our friendship," said Min, "the day when humans and Moktal fought together." Tai accepted the gift with a small bow. "The Vrek thought you would be easy targets. They were wrong. You fought with courage and cleverness. The Moktal respect both." The colonists cheered. Children ran up to look at the cat-like aliens. At first, the Moktal warriors seemed uncomfortable with the attention, but soon they were showing the children their retractable claws and swishing tails. Some even let the braver children touch their fur. Jai-Ho watched from the side, a smile on his face. Just a week ago, these proud warriors would never have allowed this. Ta would have considered it beneath his dignity. Now, something had changed. Later, as they walked back to the ship, Ta spoke quietly to Jai-Ho. "You fought well yesterday," said Ta. "For a human." Jai-Ho laughed. "And you weren't too bad yourself. For a Moktal." They both smiled. The joke would not have been possible when they first met. "Our ship is fully repaired now," said Ta. "We will leave tomorrow to return to Moktal space." Jai-Ho felt a pang of sadness. He had grown to like the commander and his crew. "Safe travels, then." "Before we go, I have a request," said Ta. "I want to send a message to the Moktal High Command. I will recommend that Earth and its colonies be given protected ally status." Jai-Ho stopped walking in surprise. "Protected ally? That's a great honor." "It is," agreed Ta. "Only a few species have earned it, but I believe humans deserve it." "What made you change your mind about us?" asked Jai-Ho. "When you first landed, you thought humans were weak and inferior." Tai was quiet for a moment. His amber eyes looked far away, as if seeing all that had happened since they landed. "I was wrong," he said finally. "I thought strength meant only physical power. I thought superior senses and natural weapons made the Moktal better than other species." He looked at Jai-Ho. "But you showed me that strength comes in many forms: intelligence, adaptability, courage, working together, using tools and technology. These are strengths too, different from Moktal strengths, but no less valuable." Jai-Ho nodded. "Different doesn't mean worse." "Exactly," said Ta. "The Moktal can learn from humans, just as humans can learn from us. That is why I will recommend the alliance." The next morning, the Moktal ship was ready to leave. The crew loaded the last supplies. Officer Hannah checked the systems one final time. Young Officer Day said goodbye to some human children who had brought him small gifts. Ta stood at the bottom of the ship's ramp, facing Jai-Ho. The commander held a beautiful knife in his hands. The handle was made of dark red wood. The blade curved slightly and gleamed in the morning light. "This is a Moktal hunting blade," said Ta. "It is given only to those who have proven themselves as warriors." He held it out to Jai-Ho. "I want you to have it." Jai-Ho was speechless. He knew what this meant. In Moktal culture, this was a recognition of equality, of respect. "I am honored," said Jai-Ho, taking the knife carefully. "I will treasure it." Tai put his hand on Jai-Ho's shoulder. "If you ever visit Moktal space, you will be welcome in my home. My family would be proud to meet the human who taught the Supreme Hunter a new way to see the galaxy." Jai-Ho smiled. "And you would be welcome in my home anytime." Ta nodded, then turned and walked up the ramp. The ship's door closed behind him. Soon, the engines rumbled to life, and the sleek ship rose into the sky. Jai-Ho watched until it disappeared among the stars. He held the hunting blade against his chest. It represented something important, a bridge between two very different species who had found common ground. As he walked back to the colony, Jai-Ho thought about the strange week that had changed so much. A feared alien predator had arrived thinking he was superior to everyone. He had left with a new understanding of strength and a new respect for humans. And a simple mechanic had gained an unlikely friend from the stars. Sometimes, Jai-Ho thought, the universe brings together the most unexpected people, and when that happens, both of them can change for the better.